Critics call it reefer madness, but California Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger says his state should at least debate the possibility of legalizing pot.
And I think that we ought to study very carefully on what other countries are doing that have legalized marijuana.
Some marijuana advocates say legalized pot could be a solution to California's budget crisis. They say a state tax on pot could bring in $1.3 billion a year. That is a lot of money. Alan St. Pierre is executive director of NORML and the NORML Foundation. He's written, debated, and lectured on the topic of cannabis and its prohibition. And Kevin Sabet is the former White House drug policy advisor under both Presidents Bill Clinton and Presidents George Bush. Thank you very much for joining us here tonight. Okay, this is a very interesting, I don't know, some may find it a conundrum that lawmakers have found themselves in because they have a liberal assemblyman, a Democratic assemblyman, who is being supported by a conservative Republican governor with the possibility of legalizing marijuana. So does this pose a problem for you as, you know, the past advisor to Presidents Clinton and Bush?
Well, it doesn't pose a problem for me personally. I think it would pose a problem for the country. And actually, to be very clear, Governor Schwarzenegger never endorsed legalization. He said we should study it. And I'm very open. We should study it. If we did, we would see actually that our two already legal drugs, alcohol and tobacco, combined kill 500,000 people a year.
But he's not endorsing it, but he's supporting it. What's the difference, though, if he's not endorsing it, but he's supporting it?
Well,
I mean, it seems like semantics.
Well, because he's supporting studying it. Yeah, no, it's not semantics, actually. He's supporting studying it. I've spoken to people close to the Schwarzenegger administration, and they are really backing away from any sort of idea that he's in favor of legalization of marijuana. Let's be very clear. He's in favor of studying it, which I think any good researcher should be. When we will study it, yeah.
I think the whole debate is really not about legalizing it. We keep saying legalizing it. I think it's decriminalizing it and not necessarily legalizing it, which they do in other countries. But let's listen to what Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger had to say, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about it, just to be specific about what he says.
Sure.
Okay, we don't have the governor? Okay, we don't have that. We have a shot from the assemblyman. Sorry about that. Can we get the governor's soundbite? Because there was something with him. I want to hear it again, though. Can we get the governor's soundbite, and then we can play it? All right. Thank you.
And I think that we ought to study very carefully on what other countries are doing that have legalized marijuana.
Okay, there you go. Thank you. So look at other countries we're doing. He says legalize marijuana.
Sure.
So go ahead. I cut you off, Mr. St. Pierre. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Mrs. Sabet. Go ahead.
Yeah, so, you know, and we can look at other countries. We can actually look at the Netherlands. When the Netherlands, actually, they have a de facto legalization. They do more than just decriminalize. They've actually commercialized it, and they very much promote it. I mean, anyone that's has been to Amsterdam can tell you that. They've actually seen a threefold increase within that country of young adults' marijuana use. And we can look at alcohol and tobacco. I mean, 65% of Americans use alcohol, over 30% use tobacco, less than 5% use marijuana. So I think we can look at our examples of our two legal drugs, especially with alcohol. Look at the tax revenues. We're all talking about budgets.
Okay.
We get about $5 billion a year for alcohol in terms of alcohol-related taxes. We spend almost $200 billion on lost social costs. So
okay,
it's really a pipe dream.
I want Alan St. Pierre to get in on this because he hasn't had a chance to speak yet. You hear what he's saying? He's saying it's not going to help the economy at all. He's saying that actually the governor is not really in favor of legalizing marijuana, but yet he is still supporting it. So what's the difference? What do you make of this?
Well, 13 states in the United States have already decriminalized marijuana. 13 states already have medical marijuana laws. As Kevin well knows, in California, marijuana has also been de facto legalized under the guise of medical marijuana, where the governor in his tenure has had a very laissez-faire attitude. And remember, this is the only governor you can actually watch smoking marijuana in the movies on YouTube. So I think there's a changing of the guard here, and legalization of marijuana, according to field polls in California, 56% of Californians now support it. And a Zogby poll just released this week in Politico, 52% of the American public now supports legalizing marijuana.
So it's very interesting. It's very interesting to hear him say that because the government in some way does sell marijuana because it does it for medical purposes, but yet and still people are being arrested on the street for possession or for selling as well. Is there a double standard here, Mr. Sabet?
I don't think so. Actually, you bring up a good point, Don, and also Alan, talking about what's going on in California. I think we need to be very clear about what's going on right now with arrest rates in the United States regarding marijuana. Yes, almost 1 million people last year were technically arrested for marijuana possession, but actually, if we go deeper in that, we see over 90% of them got off with nothing more than a parking ticket. People are not filling our jails and prisons for just simple possession of marijuana. Most of them that are in prison either admit to distribution or actually have a prior record of some other offenses. So
but it is something that's on your record, and it's a mark. It is a mark on your record that people will look at for employment and for those sorts of things.
Oh no, it is in your record. No, in today's world, Kevin, of course, in a world of digital records, as soon as you interface with police, it is on your record. There's no such thing as expungement anymore. So frankly, every 38 seconds in the United States, somebody is negatively impacted, and you and I, the taxpayers, we pay for that negative interaction.
Okay, I mean, that's going to have to be the last word.
I'm not saying there's not an,
I'll have to say to you guys.
I'm not saying there's not a negative impact, but okay.
I'm sorry, yeah, there's a delay here. So this has been a bit of a weird interview because of the delay. Sure. But I do think that most of you would agree that it is the first time that we really, this may spark an adult conversation about it and a very serious discussion rather than people talking at each other about what pot may do or not do, or, you know, how much money it may bring in or not bring in, or a gateway drug or what have you, and maybe just get down to the basic facts about where we are in this country with drugs and what we are and are not doing and what should be done. Do you agree?
Oh yeah, this is the precipice of this right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think I do agree with that. President Obama is very committed to looking at reducing the demand for drugs. We have an unmet need for treatment in this country that we need to that we need to account for. We have to expand prevention and education. This is not just about locking people up and throwing away the key. We need effective, focused enforcement, along with prevention and education. And actually, an interesting story that the news really hasn't been covering is that on Thursday afternoon, President Obama's director of national drug control policy, or the drug czar, Gil Kerlikowske, took office. And he's very committed to a balanced strategy. So I'm fairly optimistic we're going to have that.
Yeah, Gil
Kerlikowske,
that's really not out of in California, in Seattle. Yeah, and there were, Seattle had a very interesting drug policy as well. That's something that we're going to have to follow. Thank you very much, Kevin Sabet, Alan St. Pierre. We really appreciate you joining us. Sorry about the satellite delay. It got us a little befuddled there, but it's all okay. Good conversation. Thank you.